There has to be some value that you're giving to your audience through the content. Otherwise, it's just going to be you see and you scroll through, you don't even stop.
Hi Bianca, from a journalist to a corporate storyteller, how challenging was this transition?
It wasn't challenging, but I would say there's not been a single dull day before or after that transition. As a journalist, you learn very unique skills, which comes in very handy as a brand marketer, as a storyteller, as somebody who's communicating on behalf of a brand, for a brand. The ability to take quick decisions, the ability to analyze data and make it simple, tenacity, a nose for news and being able to sort of mine for stories before you tell them. So I think those skills came in very handy that I learned as a journalist. And it's been a great journey. Learned a lot, traveled a lot, experimented a lot, met a lot of interesting people. So loving what I'm doing.
The challenge with content marketing is the immense clutter. How do you break through this?
The problem is that there's too much of mediocre content out there and people have very little attention span and much less time. The only way I think to differentiate your brand is to be able to come up with something that's inspiring, engaging, informative, or just fun. There has to be some value that you're giving to your audience through the content. Otherwise, it's just going to be you see and you scroll through, you don't even stop on your timeline. You differentiate also, I think, through authenticity, because if you're sounding fake, people see it. And it's very, very important that you're sounding authentic and you're staying true to what the brand really stands for. And the other thing is to really use creativity, experiment. Thankfully, in the role that I currently have, I get to do a lot of, experimenting with different ideas, different ways of engaging with customers through content, experimenting with so many formats. And I'd encourage people to use content in different ways.
As marketing becomes increasingly ROI-driven, long-term brand positioning activities take a backseat. So with limited resources, what should a corporate brand be prioritizing?
I think it really depends on what the brand objective is. In some cases, it's pure play demand generation. In some cases, you're just building a brand and you're trying to build awareness for your brand. So the objective really defines what your priorities should be. But the tools in the kitty are pretty much the same, right? So when you're building a brand, you have to think about establishing thought leadership for your brand and for the people who stand for that brand, your leaders in the market, for not just what they stand for, the values of the company, the culture, the purpose, but also the products and services that they're really good at. So I think it's a mix of both, and obviously having that mix of digital, offline, online, PR, brand, social media. That's very important.
How important is diversity and inclusion for a global brand today, as it looks to garner a larger mindshare among both customers and partners?
But Zinia, it's not really about building the brand using something like diversity and inclusion. The reason we are focused so much on having a conversation around inclusive workplaces is because we believe in that.
Right.
I personally am very passionate about opportunity parity and being able to, drive teams that are not homogeneous in nature. And I know that I'm right now in a company that is really, really focused authentically on that. And so we have done a lot of work around being able to build the pipeline for different kinds of talent to join our company and making them feel empowered and welcomed every single day that they come to work. And by diversity, I would go beyond gender. We're talking about inclusivity, that cuts across race, color, caste, sexual orientation or cultural identities. And it is important, but it is not a pillar that we want to build our brand around, simply because this is something so core to who we are. Being able to find that balance, that workforce transformation is absolutely crucial to who we are. So it's not a brand building tactic for us. It's something that we do holistically, any which way.
Okay, last question. Tell us a bit about Bianca outside of the workplace.
I travel a lot. I love to travel because I think it gives me a lot of perspective, meet a lot of new people. So I do a lot of that. With the schedule that I have, I don't get to read a lot, but currently I'm reading a book that I'm absolutely hooked to. The Little Life, so I do a little bit of reading. I travel. I'm also a home bug, interestingly. When you look at me, you won't realize that I'm an introvert, but I actually am, and I like to spend a lot of time, just at home. So yeah, just relaxing, chilling, doing that. And I have big plans. I want to learn a musical instrument, learn a new language. Shall happen at some point, I guess.